A good way to think about fingering, from the time that you decide what fingering to use and write it in your music, through the practicing of a portion, through even memorizing it, is to think about it in terms of the handful of finger numbers. So let me demonstrate with a sonatina excerpt by Mr. Kulau. Here it starts out like this. Now, looking at that, I realize that I can play all those notes without moving my hand. For the next one, I just use one finger to go over. So there's my first handful. Then comes in the left hand with this. This is really easy for me because I recognize this as a 5-finger pattern in E major, just turned around. So there's my 5-finger, and if I have any question about how to finger it, that's easy. I follow what I know about 5-finger patterns. Next, we have a long scale in the right hand, and it's a little confusing. It's a little bit hard to figure out what this scale is, and it has a couple of sharps in it. And so pretend that your page does not have any fingering. So let's try to find the black keys first. We know that we need to not put the thumb or the little finger on the black key unless we really have to. So we look at this portion, which is very easy to play, and then the thumb would go next. So from that, I can finger the first part. I would play, that's my clump, that's my handful. Then I move my hand. That's my second handful. Now, since I looked at that pretty carefully, I'm happy to say that I recognize after this is a repetition. Yay, a repetition. It's always good to know because it's easy to play and also you don't have to practice it much. You can practice the first one. Here we go, second, and then, but here's a little difference. This one goes one note higher to my 5th finger. So in the repetition, I'm going to play a handful of 3 notes and then a handful of 5 notes. After that, I have a handful of 3, and finally at the end, I can also recognize this as a 5-finger pattern in A minor, but I don't use the 4th note. That makes it easy. This allows me to play much more easily, thinking about the fingering. Then you can also practice it that way. For example, practice from one handful to the next. Oops, I need to go one further. And then. All this helps with the facility and to build strength in the fingers to play this. And you know, something is interesting. While I was practicing this, I really learned the fingering. I don't think I need to memorize that anymore. I can play this without even looking at the music. That's nice. This is called handfuls. Try it in your fingering process. I'm Nancy O'Neill Breth, and these are effective practice tips. Try them.